Well, good morning and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Aaron Smith. I'm the CEO of the Energy and Environmental Building Alliance. And first, I want to wish you all a happy Earth Day. And second, I want to invite you to our launch of the Healthier Homes Awareness for Building Professionals course. I'm extremely pleased today to be joined by, you often hear me talk about getting the chance with EEBA to spend time with people who I've admired for years, who are icons in our industry. And it's been my pleasure to work really over the past 9 months with Dr. John McCune, who's the CEO from Allergy Standards, and of course, Gord Cook, who's with Building Knowledge Canada. He's a partner at Construction Instruction. He's a ice hockey referee, which is very, I'm always the most impressed by. You've got to have some toughness to be an ice hockey referee, and is an EEBA certified trainer. So I want to give you a little background on the course. On, about a year ago today, we had Dr. McCune present on designing for health in the home. This was a session that was hosted by Trane Technologies, one of the EEBA and CI partners. And the response from the building community across North America, around the world, was overwhelming. People saw with what was going on in society that they wanted to build healthier homes, and there was really no certified coursework that brought in both the medical background and the building physics background of what it takes to deliver a healthy home. And not only that, but how do you position your home so you're not, we used to worry about greenwashing, right, Gord? And
Absolutely.
and I think what the builders and architects and energy raters said is, and subcontractors, is we don't want a health wash in this case, but we want to know what's true, what's viable, what matters for asthma, what matters for allergy, how can we control pandemic, how can we have empathic conversations with our homeowners, and how can we execute on that. So that was really the genesis of the conversation. So again, Trane brought us all together. Um, EEBA and construction instruction on the building science side, and Allergy Standards Limited out of Europe on the medical science side. We did have some underwriting sponsors that have joined us in this journey, and we want to give a special thanks to them. We actually had one anonymous sponsor who came in with a significant donation. Uh, Trane was a gold level sponsor. We had DuPont, Brown Newton, Mitsubishi Electric, and Tarkett. And we're grateful and thankful for their underwriting of this project that we think is going to have a huge benefit across the industry. So we'll talk more about the course in particular, but we're really excited to announce today, during the launch of the course, that we do have 7 learning units of health, safety, welfare with AIA. We currently will have 7 credits for ResNet, continuing education units, and we are in front of the juries right now for NAHB, BPI, and NARI credits, and expect to have those delivered to the course soon. Uh, you can register for the course at the link below, and we'll continue to bring that up throughout the presentation. But what I thought we would do with the team is Dr. McCune is going to go through some slides and really talk about developing the program. We'll have a nice conversation with Gord as well, and talk about what you can expect from participating in this incredible new program. Dr. McCune?
Excellent, thank you, Aaron. Appreciate that. Let me just get my slides up on the screen for everybody. And let's get this on here. Let's play. Okay, Aaron, can you see my slides okay?
Yes, sir. Looks great.
Excellent. Well, listen, thank you very much. Appreciate you inviting me on to speak to your constituents on Earth Day, very important day for your community. So delighted to have the spots. But also to thank you as well, Aaron, for your catalytic thinking and breakthrough thinking, and really jumping on this opportunity and your leadership in bringing the parties together, and speaking to your community and finding what the gap was. And this has really been, it's been a kind of a labor of love for me and our team over here building this program. My background, as you can see from the slide here, is I'm CEO of a company called Allergy Standards. That's a company that came out of my work as an emergency room physician, where people, consumers, mums of kids with asthma and allergy, were confused about what products to buy, what building materials to select, what floor coverings to use. So we developed a whole series of standards around that area. And it's hugely important for me personally as an ER doc, improving lives and making a difference. And you can only do that one-to-one as an ER physician, but through the company. And I think now, really excitingly, through the work we're going to do with EEBA and construction instruction and all the professional people that in your community, we can really amplify that message and really improve hundreds of thousands, if not millions of lives. So this, as I said, this program really has been a labor of love for us. And it's kind of an extension of some of the work we've done, which is focused on asthma and allergy. We work with patient advocacy groups around the world. In America, we run a certification program around looking at products that are impactful and helpful for people with asthma and allergy, how they have a whole of house approach. But really this program, we're broadening that audience, and we're really going to make it relevant to everybody. I kind of joke when I speak at conferences about how many people in the audience know people with asthma, and that's a certain percentage. Allergies will be bigger again. And then I ask, well, who here in the room actually breathes? And obviously all the hands go up. So this is a program that's going to be relevant for everybody. And as I said, today is a really interesting day. Last year when I gave the talk that Aaron spoke about, it was the 50-year anniversaries of the signing of the Clean Air Act, which then allowed the formation of the EPA, but that also is associated with 50 years of the foundation of Earth Day. And we're seeing that trend of clean air and the environment, obviously energy efficiency, stewardship of the planet, all those messages coalescing around health and health impact. And that is almost the story of the program that we're launching today. So what is it? Well, it's the Healthier Home Awareness Program for building professionals. It is part of a whole learning sequence and ongoing training and accreditation and audit with professional tools, some of which will be delivered later on by Gord. And the foundational learning is from this course. And that will be your catalytic thinking or breakthrough to open up all the potential opportunities as a building professional, design professional, architect who really wants to be the best they can be and have a strategy of preeminence, a leadership position in your field, but also make the biggest impact in the world. And as I said, it's a coalescing of these three areas: the concept of health and wellness, being a construction professional, and then people's desire to own and build really the best possible homes for their family. And why I really feel this program will deliver value for your audience is, well, if we reflect on the year that we've just had, the world is in different stages of lockdown and then bouncing back and recovery, but it is a great time to invest in yourself, to upskill your learning. If business is slow or business is beginning to really take off, we really need to get upskilled around this new concept. And we are going to build back better in this post-COVID recovery phase the world is ending into. But a lot of building, I think, is now, the question is always going to be asked about ventilation, about yes, energy efficiency, but how can I have healthy indoor air as well? And healthy buildings have become the new paradigm that we're all operating in, whether you're a healthcare professional like myself, or a construction educator like Gord, or the wider community on this webinar today. And we need to understand the paradigm. But there is a lot of complexity, and Aaron in his intro mentioned about greenwashing and where people misuse claims and they use bad science. And what we're trying to do is cut through that complexity and deliver meaningful frameworks. So not only can you understand it, but much more importantly, you can have a framework to have a conversation with your clients and allow them to actually make best choices in a consultative fashion with you. We're incredibly pleased. As I said, we poured our heart and soul into this program, and to get that recognition from the professional trainers, particularly the learning units being health, safety, and wellness ones as well, I think is really a fantastic reflection on EEBA and the work that's gone into the program, because it is that unique collaboration that you can't really get anywhere else. It's It's obviously energy and efficiency, and obviously the whole mission and purpose and vision of EEBA. Construction, obviously we've got experts like Gord. We're going to talk your language, but we're also going to uniquely bring in that health aspect from my aspect. And I don't think you can find a program like that. And as I mentioned, it is a foundational learning piece, and there'll be follow-on workshops and additional training to follow it. So this is the model of the curriculum that we're building the program on. We're calling this our Da Vinci wheel. Leonardo da Vinci was not only a great designer and scientific drawer, he's also an anatomist and a physician. So it's that whole brain thinking that we want to bring to this. And the course curriculum will cycle around issues on the right side of the circle related to more air quality and medicine, and then we'll actually come up the other side, and Gord will be taking some of the modules there, and then ultimately saying, well, what does this mean to you? Now you have this learning and then these skills, how can you actually implement to deliver value to your customers, and obviously deliver value to your bottom line as well. And a lot of the models we've taken on, this is one of the teaching frameworks that I talk a lot about this. And this is an example of trying to cut through some of the complexity and say, well, where, Gord, I just heard there's an ice hockey referee, but there's that phrase that we've heard that where's the puck going? Well, this is where we see where the puck is going, is that, yes, very importantly, in the blue area here, the construction industry have been about sustainability and LEED and the US Green Building Council, and about the planet, and ultimately carbon dioxide is one way I've heard it described, that CO2 is killing the planet, but VOCs in the indoor environment is harming people. And we see the trend moving over to, yes, when we build and design buildings, how do we impact on the environment? But then how does that building and the maintenance of that building impact on the users of the building from a health and wellness? So
Yeah,
planet.
Dr. McCune, I thought this was one of the most impactful conversations that you share with all of us. Is I think that people wonder maybe why we're celebrating Earth Day. Why are we talking about human health? But it's both, right? When we look at sustainability, it's people, planet, profit is the triple bottom line of sustainability.
Yeah.
The planet's important. It will continue to be. We know about the headlines on the left. And I think what you do such a great job of explaining is how we're really moving into this visceral feeling of what is the impact to the user of the building. How does that impact health and wellness, the people in the home, in their neighborhood, in their local community? And these VOCs, volatile organic compounds, I mean, this is insidious. I think Gordon and I get a lot of questions. Why do we need fresh air in the home? People just don't understand that part of it. It's because the toxicity in the home is far worse than the outside most times, right?
Yeah, sure. No, absolutely. And a lot of companies and clients we work with, they're already doing the blue circle really well.
That's right.
And what they don't realize is they can actually parlay that into another value stack. That they've done the hard work, they've looked at formaldehydes and the production, they've done all that, they've designed buildings from that point of view. And what they don't realize, with a couple of tweaks, a bit of repositioning, and maybe some extra work, they can unlock this whole new opportunity that really, as you said, relates to people at the center, their core, particularly when we talk about a family home. Great, thanks. And this was a slide from the BBC in London yesterday. Just an interesting point. Again, making that link, Aaron, that you're talking about planet and people. Like, why is doing good for the planet good for people? This was a tragic case. A young girl in London died, Ella, and it was the first time ever on the coroner's statement that air pollution was the actual cause of death. And that's something that was never been entered into that. So it's something now that the people are relating air pollution, car exhaust, fumes, cities and communities actually now is actually a medical issue. And as you said there, Aaron, it's bringing together the 3 Ps, and we cover this in the course, that of course, profit, we're in business, we have to make a good profit, that's the right thing to do. But you've got to focus on people, and we all have this wider purpose-driven professionalism. And that's another framework, links in very nicely. Last time I was actually able to travel around America, I had the honor of meeting Bernice King, who's Martin Luther King's daughter, at US Greenbuild. And this was their first ever health and wellness summit, part of the Greenbuild. And again, Aaron is interested, they're making the point you just said there about our communities, this interrelated world, interconnected world. And I like this phrase: partnership is the new leadership. You know, no man is an island, and we can't do it on our own. And people don't want people blazing off into the sunset doing their own thing. We want to bring people with us and bring that kind of interconnected world. And we talk about that. Obviously, we do, because it's topical, we've thrown in an extra kind of module, and I just talk and break down a lot of the myths and complexity around coronavirus, and we talk a lot about that.
Well, Dr. McKeon, what I really liked in the modules is how if we understand the medical science of asthma and allergies and how to deal with that in the homes we build or design or live in, that can be a great proxy for understanding how to deal with virus as well.
Yeah, no, I like, again, Aaron, that was your phrase. I've borrowed it. I do credit you in the course.
Oh,
yeah. But I like that. I think it's great. The proxy for air. I mean, good air or stale air used to be asthma and allergies, was people with high allergens and irritants in the indoor environment, and then it's almost become coronavirus. But it is all ultimately the outcome, whether you're trying to avoid exposure to allergens or source control from mold. We're all about good air. As you said, that proxy for it. And that's the conversations people will have. And we have all this stuff. All this is in our indoor air. And I know Gord will talk a little about this. And it can get overwhelming. And what's an allergen? What's a VOC? What's an ultrafine particle, etc. And we've just taken this all down. And I've got nice, very clear frameworks. So when you look at all that slide I showed you before, really they're just three things, right? The gases, particulates, or biologicals or aerosols. And we chunk that down, give you, as a companion manual as well, that you can then sit down with somebody, and people can get overwhelmed and confused, and we can cut through this noise using that module. And those particular modules are all, we've broken them down very individually. So you can watch it all the way through and binge watch it like Netflix. Or if you've got a particular project on, and you need to dive back in and say, something has come up about VOCs on this project, you can actually just go straight to that module and just watch that one as well. You can do a little surgical strike, or you can watch the whole thing. So we built it very modular and very user-friendly as well. Mm-hmm. And going back to Aaron, as you saying that this proxy, I've also used this framework where, if you just bear with me now, what I've done here is there's two axes here. We've got a y-axis and our x-axis. And essentially, I've taken all that kind of cloud of confusion that we hear about in the indoor air, and I've put it on a spectrum, sickness down at one end, and then really the focus on health and wellness. And then you can bucket and break down the conversations. And then the other axis, the y-axis, talking about where we're being reactive and responding to an outbreak or an infection, or where we're being proactive and we're designing in a proactive way. And down at the sickness end, you get things like toxicity or poisoning. We're talking about infection control, sick buildings, and I put COVID down there as well. As you come up the scale, you now talk about allergens and asthma, less kind of toxic, but big health impact. And then you come to the middle of the scale, chemicals, VOCs, indoor air pollutants, relevant for everybody, more of a chronic phase rather than acute phase, underlying long-term exposures. Then as you come above the line, we can talk about now healthy air, healthy home, and we know the connection now between healthy environments and actual mental health and mental well-being, as well as societal well-being. So we kind of break it down in that way, which makes it very easy to talk through as well. We have a virtual tour. We have a whole module where we go room by room, building on what you've learned in the other modules to now how you actually can apply them into the various rooms. Because we really believe we're not only designing for homes now, we're going to be designing homes for the future. Everything in a home that can be measured will have a sensor, and everything that has a sensor will be connected, and everything that has a sensor will be smart. And we're going to configure our homes not only for energy efficiency, obviously with Aaron and your community, it'll now be about, yes, energy efficiency, but it'll be about wellness. Mm-hmm. And we see as physicians that treatment is that's almost yesterday's thinking. It's about prevention. Mm-hmm. But in the future, it'll be about predictions. And our homes, because we spend 90% of our time indoors, they will be smart homes, and your toaster can speak to your coffee cup or whatever it is, but they'll also have to be healthy homes as well. So we talk a little bit about sensors and innovation in the future. So there are my slides, Aaron. That's the Da Vinci wheel, and we can kind of come back to this slide as well about how, I think you've got some slides about how we get involved and next steps, etc. But I just wanted to take 10 or 12 minutes there, Aaron, just to tee it up again. Thank you for your leadership and the opportunity, and we poured our heart and soul into this program. We're really looking forward to getting it out there and making a big impact on the world.
Great. Well, it's an incredible course. And the medical science, I think bringing that to bear across the home building industry is really, really powerful. But now I'd like to bring Gord Cook in and really talk about the building science, the physics of the conversation. Gord will be appearing in, I believe, modules 6 and 7 of the 7 modules that we have across. So, Gord, I'd love to turn it over to you and just talk about your journey to get to here and what you see in the course, and maybe how much you see a need for this type of education across the industry.
And I love that phrase, journey, right? The early days of this, when you think about EEBA's early history, at that time, the Energy Efficient Building Association, back in the early 80s, the concept was, let's make houses more energy efficient. But we also learned, boy, I can't make a house more energy efficient if I'm compromising, say, the durability or the health or the safety of the building. So the building science progressed along this term of, I want to make buildings more energy efficient without compromising the health, safety, durability, or comfort of the building, or even the affordability of the building. And more importantly, we said we should simultaneously make each of those elements better. That is, every time I do something for energy efficiency, I should also improve health, safety, durability, and so on. But the phrase that I would say, Aaron, we were maybe not even qualified in saying was that phrase, healthier, right? We're housing professionals, those of us who work within EEBA, we're housing professionals. We're not really qualified to say this house is going to be healthy or healthier for your home, for you and your family. So it was really cool to have Dr. McCune and his organization say, yeah, we can validate that in fact the science that you've been putting into houses, the same things that you do for energy, also help with the health and safety of the building. So I thought that was the most powerful part, the most powerful connection. And in fact, this course will, part of my work, but mainly the first 5 modules are going to talk about the connections between house and health, and then we can validate the 5, 6, 10 things that builders are already doing. That is, new houses built today, certainly high performance houses that you and I would advocate. High performance houses already start checking off some of the boxes that Dr. McCune's talking about in terms of ventilation, in terms of proper material selection, in terms of, I'll call it containment, that is isolation or compartmentalization, so that you have better control over the air that you and your family are breathing. So I just find that synergy really nice to be able to finally be able to say we can truly check off the box that says everything we're doing for energy efficiency and high performance also impacts or improves the opportunity for better health in buildings. That's such a powerful commitment, or I would say such a powerful next step in that journey. And I thought it was so interesting. We were commenting before we got started the session that you guys submitted for AIA credits, and it came back almost in record time, which I don't know if this is true, but frankly, AIA hopefully looked at this and go, well, of course we need this, especially in this time and age, to get instant validation that yes, we should be making those links, those toward between housing and good housing decisions and good health decisions. So
Yeah.
Very pleased to be part of this and to bring in this idea of, take all of the stuff that we've done in houses that work sessions and really focus it on what each one of those does to make houses healthier.
Yeah. Gord, as we went through the process, was there anything that you learned that really reinforced what you maybe already were thinking, or caused you to think about new areas that you focused on in the course?
Well, anything or all of it. In fact,
Yeah,
that was really the point, was the validation. I'm going to say, you mentioned I'm an ice hockey official. I'm actually a Canadian, so I'm a hockey referee. That's the fundamental difference between Canadians and Americans, by the way. In Canada, it's just hockey. In America, it's ice hockey. In Canada, it's just hockey. So
listen, we're going to get into a debate now. It's hockey here too.
I know it is.
I mean, Minnesota is almost a province of Canada, but we have an international audience on today.
Fair enough.
Just say ice hockey.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say is a lot of this work, Canada's been doing as well, and we had some programs around indoor air quality, and we would say we termed it indoor air quality, which is again a step away from that overall health and wellness that Dr. McCune's speaking of. So we spoke fairly confidently about indoor air quality and the elements, but we weren't able to make the health link. So the most powerful part to me of this session was, and I guess I do need to get a comment from Dr. McCune. So we still can't say we're health professionals, and nor can we comment on individual homeowners' health, but it does get us a step closer to be able to truly, confidently say this indeed will be healthier for you and your family. Dr. McCune, would you agree with that? Are we okay as in the building community to now, having taken this course, to actually make some bolder statements about how it's going to impact people's health?
Yeah, I think the evidence, you're right. Obviously, you always need to be very careful about clinical claims and clinical disclaimers. But there's overwhelming evidence now. It's published at the medical meetings and it's published at the building professional meetings, whether it's the Builders Show or the US Green Building Show, where paper after paper, whether in the school setting or the work setting or the home setting, we've done some of our own research looking at particularly asthma and allergy outcomes as people improve their indoor environment. So that link is there now, that a healthy indoor environment has better outcomes. And I think you will actually see insurance companies, other payers, other people getting into this area, just as you've seen if you drive your car better and take better additional lessons, etc., your premiums come down. I think this is an area that insurance companies are going to look at, because they know that if there was a paper presented recently, we refer to it by a research group called SPOK, and they looked at where the US healthcare budget goes into. 90% of the US healthcare budget goes into medications and access to physicians. But 80% or around 70 to 80%, I think it's 50 and 20, of the health outcomes are related to our behaviors in our environment. And very, very little of the healthcare budget goes into that. But that when they've done the studies, they realize our environments actually have a much greater impact on our health outcomes. So I think that link is clearly there. And also there's an opportunity now to turn it around for your clients and ask them what are their goals, and actually coach them and make it about them, and let them have the conversation about, well, what are they trying to seek? And then you can clearly then direct yourselves, well, there's evidence now to suggest this has this outcome, or these products can help you achieve that environment. So I think as long as we're careful to speak about the environment and not the actual clinical impact, but there's very clear evidence now that yes, if we improve the environment, that will have a healthier place to live, and we'll have better health outcomes.
Yeah. And Aaron, that's exactly what I felt was I got more confidence in being able to delineate between the health outcomes and the environment. And I think builders and others who take this course and finish the certification will have much greater confidence in the way they're able to help homeowners with these really important questions.
Yeah, if I could, I think the important part to me was, I think that with the course, you can learn as the builder or the architect, how to design the house perfectly. You can learn how to deliver it really, really well. But I see an opportunity here where if you're a homeowner today and you're concerned about human health, which you should be, to take this course and have an understanding, because the phase, once we turn the keys over to that homeowner, there are impacts that happen around impacting indoor air quality. If we don't understand how to turn over that ERV or the air filtration, the ventilation devices in the house for the homeowner, it can have an impact. If the builder was very careful with their selections on materials, the wood floors are no added urea formaldehyde, they're carb 2 compliant, they meet all of these great standards. But then you bring in a couch from the local retailer that is really poor performing, it significantly impacts your air. So it's this hand-in-hand relationship of, we want to design and build them really well, but the homeowner understanding how how they further occupy that home. And I think what I really liked about the course from both of you was there are a lot of great things that we're all doing as builders today. One thing that we didn't talk about, Dr. McKeown, you are certifying products to asthma and allergy standards that can be thoughtfully selected by builders to put into those homes to meet those rigorous medical standards.
Yeah.
So can you talk about that a little bit, that we're probably not taking advantage of great things we're already doing as builders, and how you,
Yeah, no, I think I really agree with you. I think that there is a real opportunity there. There's kind of 2 points that I'd like to make on those comments. One is, from my experience, again, I'm not a builder. I'm not trying to be God. I'm not trying to be EEBA. We're different ends of the spectrum, but we're meeting in the middle. I think that's unique. That often the issue's just been taken from an engineering or HVAC kind of area, and people are trying to play as doctors, or you get doctors who are trying to play as construction professionals, and we're not credible doing that. So to have both people on it, I think is a first. And what I've seen at a lot of programs is we talk about sustainability in building the building, but then the story stops there. And that was the point you were making, Aaron. The actual ongoing maintenance. How do you clean a building? You know, you could have built a very sustainable building. You haven't impacted on the environment when you made it, but how does it impact on the indoor environment when you use it? So how are we ongoing ventilating? You mentioned heat recovery. Is the moisture being balanced? Is the mold buildup? Incidental allergens that can be brought in over time. You mentioned incidental furniture, fixtures and fittings, textiles. Look at all the stuff that goes into a building after it's been kind of signed off and built, as it were. And
the one that you brought up, Dr. McKeown, was the cleaning supplies. I think in my own house, I've changed my cleaning supply array already. But we have some builders now that were helping us with the beta versions of the course and have taken this, and they're thinking about asthma and allergy, like a gift basket to the new homeowner. These are the cleaning products you should use going forward as well. So
it's a great idea. We've seen that with our products with kind of baby showers. We've seen people, there's a baby on the way, they repaint, they redecorate, they put in furniture. And we've been involved with Toys R Us and Babies R Us and companies like that about making sure the pillows and the linens and the things you use are asthma and allergy friendly. But I don't see why that couldn't be absolutely relevant for the building community, and make sure that that room is decorated in health, not just asthma and allergy, just a healthy room for your newborn. So I think that's a really good point about maintenance of a building once it's built. And yes, I think so much has been done with its roots in sustainability. But as I say, that can now be parlayed and brought into the next level because the hard work's been done. And a lot of our products are on the Origin database as well, which drills into Toxnod and LEED and things like that. So when you're speccing out buildings and design, and certainly the asthma and allergy friendly program may have relevance to the LEED and other things that some of the people on the call may be trying to achieve with their building.
And I might add just a little bit of an anecdote. Just in the last 2 weeks, Aaron, a homeowner called me this has been a pretty typical phone call for me over the last 15 or 20 years. Homeowner said, I've lived in this house for 30 years, and I noticed the last few years I wasn't feeling as well, but it never really struck me until I was away for about a week in another location. I came home. When I was away, I felt better, and I came home and I was all of a sudden feeling bad again. And it struck her. She said, I wonder if it's something in my house that's causing this issue. And she said to me, what's changed? I said, what do you mean? She goes, well, something clearly must have changed in this house over the last 30 years or so. What do you think it could be? And then she went on to say she'd had various contractors in, various people in, had started to do some reading. And she said to me, it seems like there's probably some science behind this, somewhere between the health community and so on. I need to know more about this. Literally, she said, is there something around the science of how houses work that I really need to understand? And she was looking for the one change in houses, but Dr. McKeown, you would say it's never about one thing in the house. It's about all of these elements, and again, bridging between what might have changed in their health, for example, because health does change, and versus what might have changed in the house. And she found it very satisfying to start looking, and she asked me, much like the point you made, she was looking for a source, a place to go. So I would say this course, as much as we talk a lot, and the House at Work program is maybe biased slightly towards new housing and design, as you said. But let's talk about the 133 million houses in the United States and the remodel work that's going to take place in those houses. Let's help them make good decisions. And frankly, the science is even tougher there because I got to match up old and new. And so you're going to find Dr. McCune's work here to be really helpful as you're making decisions as in the remodel world as to how do I make sure that I'm not impacting or at least making things worse, and how do I make things better when I'm doing a major remodel of a house. So very important aspect.
Yeah, I think that's great advice, that reaching either the homeowner or, you know, we the remodeler, the retrofit market, and people understanding at that point of inflection not only how to make a great choice for the planet, which again, I think I love that graph you had, Dr. Kuhn. I think we understand a little bit more how to make a healthier choice for the planet, but we don't understand how to make the healthiest choice for our family. And some of the data from the medical community, I mean, 91% of our time indoors, it's such an important impact. And perhaps we can't just go put the cheapest flooring in when we remodel the kitchen. We need to think about, has this flooring been certified to asthma and allergy? Are there no toxins? There's no off-gassing of the flooring product. I think that's such an important message here.
Yeah, and it's a vocabulary. I mean, I talk about in one of the modules that I think to speak of, you know, a foreign language like French, say for example, for me, you need about 1,000 words to be conversational and, you know, order a beer or whatever. You need about 1,000 words to have a conversation. And as you know, certainly as a medical professional, you learn about 2,000 to 3,000 words in Latin and stuff like that. I'm sure, you know, legal guys they have their own language. Building professionals, certainly the programs I've been at, there's lots of very technical acronyms and words, and we don't realize that often we've learned a foreign language. And what we need to be able to do is, well, what does toxicology really mean? Or what's the difference between toxic and poisonous and all these words, and HVAC and MERV and etc. And what we're trying to do, again, is cut through that, not only so we understand it a little bit better, but you can then have a conversation with somebody and translate those words. So when they're problem solving, and you know, there are some people that cost, and it's just cost is a single issue, and that's, you know, and that's fine, and we need to be conscious of that. But other people may say, well, I thought I was really focused on sustainability, and I am, but now what are the words associated with healthy indoor air? Because of course our planet is very important. It's the only place we have to live. But our homes are important, and our health is important. And often we put a lot of focus on our food. We don't eat contaminated food. And there's health and safety regulations for restaurants and everything. We don't drink contaminated water. But we consume, I think it's about 3,000 liters of air a day. It's in the manual, with fill a small swimming pool. But it's probably the last thing we pay attention to. And we kind of take it for granted, but it's probably the most important. If you take it away, it's the thing you die the most quickly with. You can take water away, you'll live for a while. Food, you'll live even longer. But air is air, and what's in our air is probably one of the last things we think about, because it's around us. We're a bit like the goldfish. You can't see that the water's dirty.
Right.
And I love too that one of the other learnings, and you know, I've been exposed to before as well, is those words that you're speaking of, toxic versus allergen. That is, toxic means it's toxic to everybody. Allergen, only certain people may be sensitive, and that gives you the right as, say, a builder or a designer to say, okay, it's not affecting me, but I understand it may be affecting you. So the decisions I would make in my own home, I might be making a different decision for you based on your sensitivities to the allergens. I always joke, somewhere along the line I developed a very significant allergy to horses. I literally can't be around them and still stand up and breathe. So I'm on a worldwide campaign to ban all horses everywhere. Well, clearly not. Horses aren't bad for everybody.
Views of EEBA.
Yeah, horses aren't bad for everybody. They just happen to be bad for me. So I need to, and Dr. McCune makes a really nice case of this, that there's just having an appreciation for, just because you as a designer, a builder, are happy and healthy with various products, doesn't necessarily mean your clients will be, and having a respect for their individual health. How do I help make those decisions? That's a very powerful part of the course.
Yeah. Dr. McCune, can you kind of, and maybe we'll kind of end with this and then talk about the call to action on this program. But I thought the Da Vinci wheel model that you showed, and really in in some of the last modules, you talk about that empathic
Mm,
selling process.
mm,
And what occurred to me and the EEBA builders that have viewed this course as part of our beta is, okay, this is so important. I mean, I need to know this. My supply chain people need to know this. My project managers, site supervisors need to understand this knowledge. But I think the important thing that we learned was that it's our model home salespeople or it's our real estate agents who are in the model home with the consumer that
mm,
have to have that empathic selling technique and understand how to listen for the needs of the homeowner and translate that into what the builder is providing in that model or could provide to them. Can you talk a little bit about that empathic selling process?
yeah. I think it's really important. I mean, learning is good, but it's not, it's not academic entertainment. I'm not that entertaining. If you want to get entertained, go and watch Netflix. This has to be that you've got something to take away and you can use, make a real difference to your business. And it is that actionable insights. It's the fact that, as you just said, and kind of Gord touched it there a little bit, it's customizing, it's personalizing, it's listening. So what are your issues? And because you now have a base understanding of it, you will feel much more confident as a professional to ask those questions. And in the companion manual, there are some, in a follow-on module, we're doing some advanced learning tools where we'll do radar charts and gap analysis and things like this, but it's not for the foundational course. But there will be some checklists to look at and some questions. We know some research from work we've done with our clients about asking, does anybody in the family suffer from asthma and allergies? Is that an issue? The conversation goes in a different direction. So we will have some kind of case studies, some examples of conversations, some things to ask to unearth issues, because sometimes people may not realize this is relevant. So there are questions to ask. So in a playroom or in a bedroom, are allergens an issue? Allergic to dust mite, allergic to outdoor pollens. So we'll have some questions, we'll have some scripts. So you'll actually be able to have, as you say, first of all, listen, but then also be able to have some kind of conversation starters and tools like that to ask. Because if you look at any of these kind of environmental illnesses, and you could even look as infectious, so something like a coronavirus, or non-infectious like asthma and allergies, if you go to the EPA or the National Institute of Health or the National Heart, Lung and Blood Institute, and all the links and resources that are in each module there for further reading, they all follow very similar things. Even if you look at coronavirus at the moment, it's about avoiding, first of all, source control or avoiding at source. So that's personal protective equipment. Then it's about ventilation and good ventilation. And then after ventilation, then it's about cleaning and filtration. And that's the same for allergens, removing allergens at source that don't allow the buildup of microbes. So you've got your humidity right, you're avoiding mold, and you're controlling source from cooking and ventilating correctly, then avoiding actual exposure, and then you're looking at filtration and cleaning. So that mantra is followed again and again, and we do some case studies and some examples about those. But again, it's very similar to what Gord said. It all starts with listening. I mean, a lot of people on this call are designers, design thinking. You can only design after having listened. And we can build products, but we can only actually design after listening. And that's what you all do on this call as professional people. We're just adding in a whole layer of conversation and knowledge so you can actually listen better and therefore design and customize better as well.
Fantastic. I want to pull up just for everyone on the call the Healthier Homes Awareness course. You can now register for the course. The course is live. I think we have the first 5 modules. First 3 to 5 modules are live, so you can go in and start taking those courses today. There are quizzes in each course to check for understanding and learning. I actually started taking it last night. It's absolutely fantastic. Uh, the last 2 courses will be up relatively soon. And then, as Dr. McKeon talked about, we will have additional coursework. We may have things that are depending on demand, but maybe there's things that are more specific to remodeling market or more specific to the salespeople in the industry. But we're really excited to launch this course. You can register now at eeba.org. You see the link below. I added the link in chat as well. And then We do have the EEBA Summit on September 14th through 16th. We are hoping to have everybody in person, but we will have a hybrid summit. I think, obviously, we've got myself in the US and Gord in Canada and Dr. McCune in Ireland. Like, I can't travel to Canada right now or to Ireland. So we will have a hybrid model event, but we'll be kicking it off with a keynote with Gord Cook and Dr. McCune that we're really looking forward to. We want more of the conversation. I think more and more you'll hear the conversation in EEBA around healthier homes, around how do I drive towards zero health impact in my homes. I think the really interesting part, and Gord, you and I have talked about it a little bit, um, what does decarbonization and electrification of homes mean to the health impact of the occupants, the impact to our neighborhoods, and the impact to our larger communities? And Dr. McCune, I was so touched by the story about this child that had died from air pollution. But that's the missing link that I think we don't forget about. That whether it's the mission of EEBA or Building Knowledge Canada or CI is driving toward this future of zero energy, zero carbon, zero health impact. And how does that tie in with overall human health? So we're really excited to continue these conversations. I'll turn it back to the team for any closing thoughts that you want to have. And we can take questions. I haven't seen any questions come in, but if you have a question for our team, please enter it in the Q&A. Maybe Dr. McCune, closing thoughts.
Just again to thank you and your community, because they have driven this. This has been a kind of a ground up, not a top down. That we haven't kind of decided this needs to be done and we're going to force it on the community. This really has been built because we've been asked to build it. So again, thank you for your leadership on that and really being the catalyst for making it to happen. And once we do get people on the course, there's lots of room for feedback. We will improve it year on year as new technologies, new capabilities come in, and as that engagement. And I really look forward to coming to the summit. Maybe I'll be able to go there in person and personally meet with your members. And really, the more I listen and hear about the issues and design, the more we can research and build better modules and new modules that are very focused on what the needs are out there. So I'm really looking for the first cohort to come through and their graduations, and they're able to display their certificate on their LinkedIn profile and a nice obviously certificate they can put in their professional offices and on their digital footprint. So we're really looking forward to that first cohort coming through and speaking with them and getting feedback of the graduates so we can build better modules for your community.
Fantastic, Gord.
And I would just say, go right back to the word journey. Think about that 50-year anniversary. EEBA's been part of that for 40. I've been part of it for 35 to 40 years. And to imagine I'm really gratified within my career, within my lifespan, we're going to see the end of that journey. This is just a great place to be. I love where you were taking this, Aaron. Imagine if we started with a planetary issue, an outdoor issue, and now we've been focusing on the indoor environment. And imagine now that the indoor environment, the improvements we make there, also impact the outdoor environment in terms of decarbonization and so on. So it's just a really nice circular journey, if you will. I really enjoy being on the path. That's what I find so powerful about EEBA, is just that respect for that journey, the path that all of us have to go through. And I would just encourage everybody to continue down the journey a little further through this really important health connection. So thanks for the opportunity to be part of it.
Yeah, I'm inspired by that thinking, Gord, around the Winston Churchill quote of this is not the end, it is not even the beginning of the end, but it is perhaps the end of the beginning. And I kind of think back to that. And then the other thing I really pulled from your talk, Dr. McCune, was that I'm a huge believer. I think it was Mahesh at USGBC said that collaboration is the new leadership. And that was extremely inspiring to me. And I would even add to that phrase that the time for radical collaboration is right now. The collaboration is the new leadership. The time for radical collaboration is right now. If we're going to move this at scale, we all need to move together. What I would add on the accreditations, if you're listening to this and your organization has learning units, CEUs that you want to deliver, you want this accredited for your team members, EEBA is excited and happy to work with you to deliver those continuing education units. We want this offered as broadly as possible. I think they speak for the whole team here, where we want to help as many people as possible get the information into their hands and learn from these modules. So with that said, I would wish all of you a happy Earth Day. John is closer to 5 p.m. than we are here.
Yeah, we're good.
And Gord, you have an Earth Day presentation coming up, right?
I do, absolutely, yes.
You want to talk about that a little bit?
Well, yeah, it's just a nice presentation that takes into account this, the journey, if you will, around energy efficiency and how that's impacting and helping the whole community.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fantastic. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much. We look forward to, it's been a journey, but again, I think it's the end of the beginning, and we look forward to the future together.
Likewise.
All right.
That's great, Aaron. Thank you
Thanks,
very much.
everyone.
Good. See you soon.
Thank you. Nice to
All right,
see
take
you.
care.